I got some topics today for you. And I want to talk about the team that I fell in love with as a child. You know, from yay high, ever since I started watching basketball, the Lakers have been that team for me. So, my question is, can they fix it this season? And my answer is yes. They can fix it, bruh. They can fix it. With Russ, no jump shot, Westbrook. And I need to talk about that. Like, the psyche that goes into players when they can't shoot anymore. Like, what happened to Draymond? What happened to Russ? I mean, Draymond had 1 year, but Russ could shoot. And OKC couldn't Russ shoot? At least a midi.
He was cool. First of all, to get back to your first point, I've always said the Lakers were going to go to the finals.
Still?
The whole year.
Still.
You can look at my text receipts. My college roommate, the biggest Lakers fan, one of the biggest I know. I've been saying it since day one. I think the Lakers are going to the finals.
After all this turmoil.
All this, I've been solid. Second off with the psyche thing. First of all, he just looks terrible when he shoots, first of all.
Like the balance psyche. And like
he jumps hella high. Like when you watch him shoot, you like I know like just off rip sometimes. Oh, it's off. Like I could just tell right when he releases it.
Do you be like, I can see some air balls and all types of shit?
Not air balls. I'm not saying air balls. I don't know how that happens, but I don't know how that happens.
But I'm like at a point he had a consistent mid-range shot. It was a proven mid-range shot he had. So I don't understand people saying because he lost athleticism and stuff like that.
No, that's not it.
But his jumper doesn't even look the same that it looked like when he won the MVP.
Have you compared it?
Yes. I just watched his, like, when he went to Orlando and scored, like, 47.
It's really different?
It's different. Like, he still has the same kind of form, but how he jumps on it, his balance, all that shit is different.
That's the reason. I mean, there is some psyche to it. I saw this one thing a long time ago. There was, like, this catcher that played for, like, in the MLB. He was like a good catcher, but something happened where he got an injury, and every time he would throw the ball back, he would cock it back like 2 or 3 times before he let go, and then like it messed with his head. I don't know if that's the same thing, but there is some psyche in sports. I don't think that's psyche though. I think whoever jump shot guy that's on the Lakers really effed up his shot. Who was the Instagram guy?
Phil Handy, or lethal shooter.
Yo, he's awful. He's awful. I don't care.
This is track record not showing improvement.
Awful. I don't care how good of a shooter he is. He's awful.
He just can't show.
Lakers need to fire him.
He's not on the Lakers though. He's not on the Lakers staff. He worked with like Caldwell Pope and like Danny Green and like Kuzma.
Dwight. Remember when Dwight?
I think he might have worked with Dwight too, but he's not part of the Lakers. NBA players just go to him.
I thought he was part of the Lakers though. No? Why is he always?
If you're talking about Phil Handy has a lot of shit on Instagram and shit too.
Is it the black guy?
Yeah, that's the black guy.
I'm trying to remember.
But why do you still say that the Lakers are going to make it out the West? They just have too much stars.
That too. Also, they're doing this all without AD. Like, I'm not like worried.
But with AD, they weren't doing shit either. They were like a 500 team with AD.
True, but I don't really think they. I just think in a 7-game series, I think the Suns, Warriors, those top. Who's above
Suns,
them?
Warriors, Grizzlies, or Suns, Warriors, Jazz.
They're gonna kill the Grizzlies.
They're gonna kill the Grizzlies in the first round.
I think they just killed the Jazz. Why would I be worried? I think they're gonna. I just think they're fine.
The only team I don't want to see, because I don't even give a fuck what their seeding is. Like, they need to get the shit together and show me they can at least play defense and make a decision on Frank Vogel, which I want to have a conversation about him too.
Remember, I thought he was gonna get fired last year, but I was wrong. Or was it 2 years ago?
It was 2 years ago.
So I was wrong. I was definitely wrong. But
I mean, he never. I don't think he ever should have been hired for the job. But we'll talk about that later.
I don't think so either.
The only team on the top that I'm worried about is the Warriors, because Clay's getting back to being Clay. I don't know what's going on with Wiseman, but they'll have a full team.
We'll see.
And they play defense.
You don't care about the Suns? I think they're cool.
I don't care about the Suns because we were up last year before AD got hurt, 2-1 in the West, the first round. It
is a different team though than last year.
It's a different team, but I still have like the two components that I need. Like, we lost the first game, got blown out, and then AD came out and was like, "I'm gonna be AD again," and we won the next 2 games, and then he got hurt. So I'm not. And LeBron was hurt.
Well, speaking of last year, what do you think about the Russ trade now? Because Kuzma's been balling. I had no idea. I was with the
I love
Lakers fan.
Kuzma.
I was trashing Kuzma. I was trashing.
You know I liked Kuzma, bro. I have a Kuzma jersey shirt right
I
now.
don't even remember that part. But I hated Kuzma.
I loved Kuzma.
I'm not even a Lakers fan. I was hating him worse than I was like, bro, who is this scrub?
So let me go back. Because this is the reason that I don't like Frank Vogel so much. Because
And he's good now. He's good now.
But I saw the potential before LeBron got there. Of course, we saw the potential. Him and Lonzo and Brandon Ingram and all of them. And then the year with LeBron, he's the one that fit in the most. That's why he stayed in the AD deal. So I was like, okay, he has potential. 18 points a game. I saw him drop 41 in 3 quarters on like the Pistons one night. Like he gets crazy hot. So I've always been a Kuzma fan as a Lakers fan. He did start fucking up and shit like that, but I mean, you don't have the role that you thought you were gonna have. But I thought it was Frank Vogel's job to still, get him in that offense some type of way. And he never ran plays for Kuzma. He never did anything to get Kuzma into the offense. So that's the biggest beef I had with Frank Vogel since he started coaching. Like, the year we won the championship in the bubble, I really think we won just based off talent and not based off any coaching.
Okay, that's part maybe.
Like, the Rondo and LeBron IQ and shit like that, how they slow the game down and do that, I think that's what won us the championship over Vogel's coaching. Vogel did make changes here and there, like the Houston series. He didn't play the big man and shit like that, but that's shit any coach could do.
I can't even remember that far. Wait, was Shooter on that team?
No. That was the year before
that
Shooter.
Was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was
when we were in the bubble, we had Danny Green, Caldwell Pope, LeBron, but Rondo was big in the playoffs that year.
He wasn't starting the whole year, was he?
He wasn't starting the whole
year.
Who
was starting above him in the beginning?
They did the Danny Green, Caldwell Pope, LeBron, AD, and JaVale McGee lineup. That was the lineup.
So they had no point guard.
They had no point guard, and LeBron was the point guard because he led the league in assists that year. So LeBron played point. It kind of freed up everything and had shooters and defenders.
So you were mad that he got traded for Westbrook?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. After last year, I kind of knew it was time to go for Kuzma because of how much Laker fans hated him and just the perception he get and the role that Frank Vogel played in not playing him when he needed to play him. I'll never forget Frank Vogel for giving Danny Green that wide open shot, having Danny Green on the floor versus the Heat in the finals in the bubble, that bubble championship year. Danny Green had a wide open 3 in Game 5 to win the game, and he missed it. So we had to go to a Game 6. Yeah. If Kuzma was on the floor taking that shot, he would have won. He would have won the game. That's how much confidence I had from Kuzma.
That's how much confidence you have?
Kuzma's a clutch player. If we really go back to it, he has no fear. That's his thing.
So you don't like Russ this year? You wouldn't have done the trade, or you would have rather have Buddy?
If I had to pick between Buddy and Russ, or having them, I would still have them. I wouldn't trade for Russ. I wouldn't trade for Russ. I wouldn't trade for Buddy. I would still have that team. Now, if something else came up,
you would run back that team again? They lost. They were hurt, but they looked bad last year.
Harrell wasn't used. Harrell again wasn't used the right way. That's a Vogel system thing. He's going crazy in Washington, so it was a coaching thing. Which I think if you would have got another coach in there this year,
so who would have been your hire, or would you have just hired?
That's a good question, because that's what I'm thinking about now when they're saying Frank Vogel is day to day as a coach. Who will we bring in there to just make everything better? I think Vogel stays for the rest of the year, and we figure it out at the end if we don't do anything in the playoffs.
So you think he's staying? Because he is a defensive coach,
and they ain't playing a lick of fucking defense.
And
at least last year you said they looked bad, but at least we were first in defensive efficiency.
And this year they dropped off.
Yeah, they're like 17th, 18th.
They're not carrying anymore.
Bro, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's nobody that I can say instantaneously that's just on the sideline right now that's not coaching that I can say they'll change the fortune of the Lakers.
Well, what were the changes that they made? They added Melo, who is not a good defensive player. They added Russ, who I don't know why he isn't a good defensive player.
Exactly.
He has all the tools.
Exactly.
Who else did they?
He wants to try to get rebounds so he can get his triple double.
Who else? I mean, AD was just brittle. I mean, he's a defensive player. 2 years ago or a year ago, whatever, wasn't he in the running for a defensive player?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened there. Who else did they add? That's a defensive liability.
I mean, Malik Monk. I don't. He kind of tries to
fine.
play. He tries to play. Yeah, he's solid. But
They had to sign Avery Bradley.
yeah,
And they give him playing time.
You know who's the defensive player on our team though?
Stanley Johnson.
Austin Reeves, the undrafted rookie.
That's bad.
When the undrafted rookie is playing more defense
and Stanley
than
Johnson.
Stanley Johnson
is getting minutes. Like, what the heck? These guys are
Exactly.
just unemployed a week ago.
that losing Caruso thing. I think was
I
big.
forgot about that.
Yes,
They chose him over THT, which I thought was cool. I like THT. I thought he was cool. I don't know what is happening with him right now. He's not getting.
He's starting to come back. These last couple of games, he's starting to come back. But that 3-point shot,
But you'd rather have Caruso. You'd rather have Caruso right now.
I would rather have Caruso because you can't THT has all the talent, but you can't teach intangibles. Like the little shit that Caruso does, the steals that he gets, the blocks that he gets, the good defense on one play and stuff like that can change the whole momentum of the games. So I trust him on the floor to hit a corner three every now and then when they double LeBron or AD, and to play defense with his whole heart instead of THT, who's all talent. And I don't know what's going on in that man's mind right now.
So you really would have kept Caruso before the year over THT? I don't think you would have. I don't think anybody would have.
Before the start of the year, okay.
Because Caruso was literally in the G League. They literally just picked up some. Wasn't he in the G League?
But Caruso has been on the Lakers for like 3-4 years, coming back and forth from the G League, bro. So I remember Caruso when he used to just be the white guy that dunks and went back to the G League.
You didn't think the Lakers had. You don't have any faith in the Lakers of just drafting whoever defensive player that can shoot threes, because intangibles, I mean, anybody can hustle and shoot threes.
But everybody doesn't hustle because THT doesn't do all that Caruso does.
He doesn't.
Caruso will give me 5 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 assists, but that shit will be so impactful versus Taylor Horton-Tucker giving me 17 empty points. Yeah. Now I get what you're saying before the start of the year. How everybody was talking about THT. They did not want to trade Kyle Lowry for him. If you remember, that was supposed to be a thing. They were thinking about getting. You and that did that
rental.
They were thinking. Yeah, it was a rental for a year.
Yeah.
It was a rental for a year, so it's kind of like
they weren't gonna win anything last year anyway.
Why you say that? I mean, if we were not have been injured, we would have beat the Suns.
You guys did get injured.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess you say this year they'll be fine. So we're gonna continue to see they're fucking 500 right now.
I still have faith in the Lakers front office. I think the front office for the Lakers and the Heat are two of the top best.
Really?
Do
you think
so.
That just happened because Rob Pelinka just came there? Because they weren't that before. Rob Pelinka came.
I think a little bit before too. I mean, look at their draft picks. They've hit on every single draft pick. Same thing with the Heat. Not in this greater sense because the Heat had lower picks, but if you go back to the year, one of the last years with Kobe, it was Randall.
Yeah.
D'Lo. Mm-hmm. Was Clarkson in that too?
Clarkson, he was a second round pick, or like at the end of the first round.
And then you have like, I'm gonna forget all the people.
Zubac,
Wagner,
Kuzma, and those people were
Thomas Bryant. Like I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are hitting on every player.
That is true.
I had faith in the Lakers could get another Alex Caruso who runs and shoot threes. Like that shit's not. That's why when he left, I was like, okay.
You're kind of right about that because they kind of have found that in Austin Reeves.
Not to the same extent, though.
Not to the same extent, but he hustles, does intangibles, does the dirty work, gets on the floor, makes a three every now and then that you need. Like
I just don't think Alex Caruso is the difference between a championship and whatever's happening to the Lakers right now. I don't think Alex Caruso is the biggest problem. I do think there's some lineup issues when you have Russ on the court.
Okay, so that goes into coaching. So Vogel, what you doing, bro? Because the lineups are horrible, bro.
I didn't never like the Russell Westbrook trade to begin with, but it is star power,
and you need that in the playoffs.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I still think when the Kings play the Lakers, do you ever think like, damn, Buddy would kind of feel cool sometimes?
But Buddy goes through his ups and downs, and it's kind of like.
He would start for the Lakers.
You think he would start?
I don't think he would.
Come off the bench, 6-man.
But then it'd be like, why would you have Melo on the team then? Because you already have like that shooter.
Yeah.
What was the trade? What was the trade for us? It was Buddy and who? It was like some change. Buddy and.
You're saying the trade for Russ with the Lakers?
Instead of Russ, there was The Buddy
It
Hield
was
trade.
just Buddy
Was
for
it?
Kuzma, Harrell, and somebody else.
I think
bro.
it was Buddy and somebody else.
Casey.
That
Oh,
had the
was it?
contracts. I don't know if it was Harrison Barnes. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it wasn't nobody that was good. Like
That
a
would be
quality.
crazy. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
if it
I would have
was.
did that.
Oh no, you'd be crazy not to do that.
Yeah.
Barnes is cool now.
Hmm.
I think it was Buddy and some other change.
But it was like a bum. It wasn't nobody that was going to change fortunes for the Lakers. It wasn't going to be. Buddy Hield was the. It wasn't nobody lesser than that.
Really?
Yeah.